I like that it's even been submitted, and that's why
It's pretty hard.
I'm just
I mean, in the words of James Goble, this is events list.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 45 of the Gollum's Gamers podcast, where today we're back with another event preview episode, which is a little bit different though to all the other preview episodes that we've done before, as today we're previewing the Nations Cup, which is the first time we've ever covered a non-GBHL event. It's being held in Antwerp, which is in Belgium, this weekend, and it's an invitational international event with 20 teams in attendance, which adds up to 120 players, and 15 nations will be represented there. So tonight we'll be looking at some of the statistics for the event and reviewing some of the lists from the different nations that are going. But before we get underway, though, you can find us on Spotify and Instagram by following the links in the description down below. And for those Spotify listeners, tonight I'm joined by Sam and Ben, who are both attending the event, as well as Vince and Ali. Now, it's worth noting that Adam and Jay are also both going to the event, but they couldn't make it here tonight. So, what team is everyone on? I thought I would ask, because you're all on different teams, aren't you?
Yes.
That are going?
Well, me and Jay, we're on Team England, and Sam and Adam are on your team.
Lions.
the Lions.
England 2, Lions.
England 2 / the Lions.
Love that. Now,
Can
Ali,
you send me you're getting shirts that say Simba or Mufasa and stuff like that on
We're
it?
actually not. Our shirts.
Oh.
I advocated different shirts that we actually had, but I'm not gonna spoil them.
are there any teams that are taking shirts then? You are.
Most countries end up getting some form of shirts when they go to international events
International
before.
events. Yeah, nice. Now, Ali, though, is actually one of the TOs for the event, so he will be there as well this weekend. And I did want to hand over to you, first of all, Ali, to ask if you could speak on the idea behind the Nations Cup, kind of what prompted you guys to kind of create the event this year.
Peer pressure.
Love a bit of that.
No, I mean, I've gone to quite a few international events over the years. So the main management team, as it were, is myself, Will Champion, Matt King, and Michael Bradford. All of us have run events sort of in the UK now for a few years. Will and Matt seem to run 50% of every single event that's ever happened in the UK these days. So pretty experienced team of TOs. But yeah, no, so myself and Will in particular have gone to international events for, I don't know, on and off for the last 10 years, really.
Yeah.
And they've always been some of the best events that we can go to, especially when you're going as a team. You kind of like get to win and lose in team, and you get all of that sort of
Yeah.
friendly vibe and banter and stuff like that, especially when you get to rub it in to the other nations' faces when you beat them. But also getting to see all the international community and getting to know them is quite nice, because we tend to see podcasts or videos or talk to them on sort of social media and stuff like that, but it's very rare you actually get to see these guys face to face. So international events are always good. How it kind of came about, so to do short, so about, I don't know, 2019, 2020, I kind of had the idea with my brother of doing a home nations, or like
Okay.
Six Nations style thing,
Mm.
which we kind of started like talking to people, and that was when I sort of first spoke to Michael about it, being our resident Northern Irishman, and sort of, but that idea got put in the back burner by sort of the COVID pandemic, and then didn't really talk about it for 2 years, and then about this time last year, maybe a bit later in the year than that. Essentially, there's some things that happened with one of the other international events that pissed off quite a few people, I think, to put it one way. And despite my protestations, because I was there going, oh, I've got quite a busy year ahead, I relented to. It was mainly Michael who was like, "Let's get this idea back off the ground about doing the Six Nations thing."
Yeah.
And we're like, "Cool, we'll look at doing it." And then we had other countries sort of go, "Oh, we kind of like to join in." So like, what was like a home nations became Six Nations, became like a Seven Nations, became a like Eight Nations. It was like, you know what? Should we just call it the Nations Cup,
The
and it'll be
Nations.
like anyone can kind of join.
Yeah.
And there was a bit of momentum built up. Like we got Michael got me, Will, and Matt all signed up to sort of getting it done this year, and essentially that was how it started. But it wasn't like we woke up one morning and was like, we're doing this. It was definitely
It was an
an
idea
that
from,
developed.
that progressed.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
here we are. Okay, nice. So I thought I would touch on kind of how the teams are set up and everything, like with the lists and things like that. So for anyone who doesn't really know anything about the Nations Cup, so each team has submitted 8 lists for the event. 4 of those are good lists and 4 of those are evil lists, as it's a good v evil event, which is a key thing to note. But one of each of those lists are actually dummy lists, as each team only has 6 players in. So when each team registers on day 1 of the event, the team captain will inform the TOs which 6 of the 8 lists are actually being used by their team for the weekend. So all the lists are available to see on the Facebook page, which everyone can go and join. So a few general notes about the event, which I thought we should start on. So when teams have been put in their lists, when they've been writing their lists, no factions or legendary legions can be used more than once across all 8 lists that have been submitted for that. And there can also be no duplicated named heroes in any of those lists either. The only exception to that is Saruman, because obviously there's good and evil Saruman. So what it essentially means is that you can't have multiple Witch Kings in any of your 4 evil lists. And you can't take 2 Mordors. So if you're taking Mordor Serpent Horde as one list, you can't then take pure Mordor as a separate one. So that's some notes there about the lists. Any thoughts from anyone on like the restrictions there or anything?
Did you mention it's good v evil as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
It makes like good versus evil. Some of the lists that are probably better in that format, i.e., vanquishers. They're really good against evil. However, they take up a lot of your named heroes that are good that can go into other lists.
Yeah.
So people are then more reluctant to take them because
a lot of eggs in one basket sort of thing.
So it's an interesting. I quite like it having it just makes the variety way larger than if you were to not do that kind of thing.
How did you and Ben find actually the list choosing process?
I find it quite interesting, definitely, because you get an idea of what people are going to take, like what you think they're going to take, and then it's you kind of have to, you can kind of protect one list but you can't really protect 2 because you don't get to choose all your matchups kind of thing. You have to make usually solid all-rounders. It's hard to just have
Is there much debate in your team about people fighting over certain lists?
Not really. I was the person that kind of all the dummy lists that we've taken and a few of them I can kind of play any of them. Some people were set on taking certain lists, which is fair enough. But there wasn't really any debate or what people were taking. Everyone was fairly chill with it.
Yeah. Go on, Ben, what do you think?
Kind of echo Sam's thought. There wasn't. We just kind of created some good lists that we thought would do well going into essentially the opposite side of the matrix. And then people kind of naturally fell into some of those lists. So there wasn't much arguing about who took which list.
Who takes what? Yeah. Now there is quite a unique kind of matchup system, which we'll come on to. But another thing worth noting is that the scenario that's rolled before each round will be rolled from all 18 scenarios. So there's not the pool system being used or anything like that. And I thought we should maybe touch on the scoring here as well. So how the scoring will work is that it will use the major minor system from the match play guide, but these will award GPs, which are game points, and at the end of each round each team will work out their total amount of GPs from the 6 games that their team has just played. and the team that wins either 4 out of 6 of their games or scores 17 GPs or higher in the round will get the win for that round, and the winning team will receive 2 TPs, 1 TP for a draw or 0 for a loss. So any thoughts on the scoring or
I
anything
think
like that?
just to make clear, it's actually not exactly the major minor system in the back of the match
I
play
did think,
guide.
I wasn't sure if it was slightly different.
It's you have to win by over 5 victory points in your game to get a major.
I missed that. Okay.
So if you
So it's not
win,
quite the same.
because in the match play guide it's just double, so a 2-1 would be a
see.
major, which
Yeah.
in my opinion and the team's opinion is stupid that you could get a major by just winning 2-1. So we went with the sort of difference having to be sizable to deserve a major. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that is how the scoring is going to work. So if there's no further comments or anything, we can move on to talk about the draw system for the event. So I did want to give a shout out to Kevin from Lowlands Wargaming for putting together a very helpful video which explains the process in a lot of detail, which helped me understand it. As everyone knows, I did have some issue.
Can I also give him a shout out because it saved me having to do it?
With understanding. I watched your video, Kevin, and I now understood how it worked. So thank you very much. I also stole the screenshots from there as well, so that is also very helpful. So I will do my best to explain this. Yes, so please do bear with me. But as the viewers can see on the screen, each team's lists are on the left and right hand sides there, with the 6 different boards are then shown in the middle, and they're sort of, each board is kind of meant to be themed or laid out in, like, different ways, aren't they, Ali?
Yeah, in theory.
In theory.
Because all the boards are coming from different places across the continent. We'll find out what the boards are going to be like exactly on the day, but there should be variety. Other international events, so I went to the Polish Team Championships last year, have historically had identical boards. We've gone with the other approach, which is have you variety to then play into the tactical element of the draw.
Yeah, okay. So TBC are the boards, but yes. So what will happen is that both teams will roll off, and the team that wins then chooses one of their lists, which can be good or evil, and will place it face down on a board of their choosing. Now, on the image that the viewers can see, it isn't actually face down there. It's just for the demonstration purposes so that we can see what list it is. The other team will then do the same, but that has to be the opposite allegiance to the list that your opponent just put down. So there'll be a good and an evil list face down at this point. Both teams, though, will then reveal the lists that they've placed down, which Kevin has represented here by placing the models on the actual piece of paper. So you can see the models are there on the piece of paper, and that's how we know that those lists have been revealed. Both teams will then choose one of their lists of the opposite allegiance to their opponent, and that will be the first matchup. That process is then repeated with the team that lost the roll-off will choose the first list this time, but it must be the opposite allegiance to the one that they first put down. So if you put down a good list in the first step, you would then put down an evil one next. So once that process has then been repeated, there will be 4 matchups set, but only 4 of those 8 lists are actually known at this point, which the viewers can see on the screen. Now, just to avoid any potential confusion, though, the models in the top left hand list there that you can see with the fell beast aren't actually supposed to be there, as that list is meant to still be hidden. At this point then, the team that won the initial roll off will then pick one of their last 2 lists and will roll another dice. On a 1, 2, 3, that list is placed face up on the board with the lowest table number, that's still unused, or the highest table number if they're on a 4, 5, or 6. The other team will then choose their list of the opposite allegiance and will put that on the same board as their opponent just picked, also face up, and then there are only 2 lists left, one on either side. There's one left. So those 2 lists just go down on that board, and then all of the lists which are still face down are revealed. So that is how the draw works.
And for anyone who's still listening, it sounds
it's a complicated
lot more
process.
complicated.
I had to condense Kevin's 10-minute video into 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's a lot more. It sounds a lot more complicated than it actually is when you with these draft systems when you do it in person. It's kind of one of those ones where it's easier to do it than it is actually to say how it works.
So
But yeah.
yeah, but to the players going, I guess Ben and Sam, what do you think about the system?
I like it because it's very different compared to, what is usual. It's a case of, like I said, you kind of need lists that can do everything and don't instantly lose against certain things because, what you're gonna have to place one list down at the start and then you're going to get all the choice in the world to what they get, to play that against something. So it's kind of you're at disadvantage. You kind of want that list to either maybe get a small win, draw a minor loss just to try and because that's going to be their where they're hoping to get a big major win kind of thing if they chose after with all five lists available. So I like it. It plays into a bit of tomfoolery, I think, when it comes to the picking and baiting people out. But I'll be intrigued to see how it goes. Yeah.
No. What do you think, Ben?
Yeah, I like it. Adds another tactical layer because not only do you need to think about how to win the scenarios and the missions, you also need each list within the team to have certain job roles. So just like Sam was saying, you kind of need that a solid all rounder that you can drop down first. That everyone's going to see what it is that can have a decent shot at anything, but it won't be wonderful in certain scenarios.
Yeah.
Whereas your kind of a bit more selective lists that like facing certain things or not doesn't like facing certain things can be held back and then to try and match them up against something that they do like to go into.
Yeah.
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 There's also the element with the boards where,
Yeah.
in theory, if you have something like Assault on Helm's Deep and there's a board with a lot of line of sight blocking, you probably go, I don't actually want to put that on there. So you have to consider where, like, you may have a good matchup, but it actually may be on a terrible board, or you may go, this army's got a real weakness to shooting, but I could put it on this board and it will mitigate that and things like that.
I'm taking elves and there's a wood on this board. Interesting.
Wouldn't it be good?
Ooh.
That got way more laugh than it deserved.
That was pretty big, Sally.
Really big. Right. That is going to do it for the draw system. Thank you very much, Kevin. Shout out Lowlands Wargaming. We are going to move on to looking at the statistics for the event. So, for the Spotify listeners, the faction, Legendary Legion, with the most amount of people taking it is the Dragon Emperor Legion with 18 appearances at the event, so out of 120 players. So that takes the top spot. No Mordor in there. Oh wait, Mordor's second with 16. 16 appearances. It's almost as if I set that up.
No, it's not.
You didn't set up.
And now we have Salt and Lothlorien, which is in tied third place with Lothlorien as well, with 15 appearances. Then down from there we have Halls of Thranduil and Rivendell, the two Elven factions, with 13 appearances. With 12 we have Erebor Reclaimed and Minas Tirith, and a number of other factions down on from there. So, initial takeaways.
So
not surprising.
Yeah. Also, obviously, this is lists that have been submitted. This isn't what they're taking. So there might not actually be this amount of, emperors, for example.
And that's because there are 2 dummy lists out of all 8
Yeah.
that are submitted. So, yeah.
So out of the 18, 2 of the teams may think, no, let's not take emperor. We put our other list into XYZ. So now it go to 16 kind of thing. And
But do we see many of the teams not taking emperor?
I
Do we see it being dropped?
There's a chance that 1 or 2 would do, because the thing about the Emperor list is it's a very good and easy list to chuck in as a spare list if you want, because it doesn't use any other characters from any other list that you're going to be taking. It's solid and strong enough, and it also I mean, if you see there's loads of emperors, you may go, actually, we had a backup anti, I don't know, emperor list or something else instead that we may trade that in for instead now.
I
I
think
mean,
there
I
will
still
be
think
some.
17 will probably take it out of the 18. And in
Yeah.
fact, it wouldn't be
What's
surprised
that?
if it was all 18.
There'll be there. I agree with Ali. There'll be one or two rogue teams that will sack it off and take their other evil list, but I
Yeah.
think most will take it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what do we think about there being so many AOLs? That isn't something that we usually see too much of at GBHL 100s these days.
It's a very strong list to go into a good army, particularly when you can potentially protect it against certain things like blinding light or like a strength 4 heavy armor that can just cream through it.
Yeah.
You're able to pick it a bit more because it's actually a very strong list that's very good at winning the scenarios.
You're also going to be getting more of a flavour of how the GBHL meta does differ somewhat to the international sort of communities. Like, having like played against the French and chatted to like the Polish and stuff like that. So when I went to the Polish team championships in November, December last year. I think nearly every team we played against had an AOL in it. And it's just because it's like it is still really good. It's just not as good at low points as it used to be, and we haven't had that many low points armies, low points tournaments recently in the GBHL. Whereas this is 800 points, so still clearly works in the view of a lot of teams.
Again, it doesn't take any named characters that you actually can go into other lists as well. They're all very, that's only that you use them in realistically. And yeah, I'm not really surprised with the amount of AOLs. It'll be intriguing to see what they get put against because I'm assuming, I mean, I've seen all the lists. However, I made the assumption that people are going to take 2 blinding lights per good, in their good list. Some haven't, which is fair enough. But that does make it harder to pair it not into blinding light. Even then, I don't think it loses to blinding light guaranteed. It's still, you can still,
You
you
still
can basically get them to
outnumber.
move and shoot.
Yeah.
You still got all of the hero snipe shenanigans.
Yeah. So
the other good thing of AOL is that also has blinding light, essentially.
yeah.
That shuts down a lot of good shooting as well. So it's an easy way of getting that very powerful mechanism into the evil side as well.
Yeah.
I think what this also shows is how the general chart is how legendary legions massively prop up evil outside of Mordor. Because it is interesting. I know how everyone at the moment says evil are much better than good, which I kind of half disagree with. But at the start of the edition, it was exactly the opposite. People always used to say evil was like trash compared to good, at least in UK. And I think it's evil benefit more from legendary legions because they're less constrained by actual narrative, so they get more interesting different legions.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why do you disagree with that? Like, why do you think?
I think
evil's not necessarily better.
I think evil, and I don't mean this in terms of actual player skill, but it's easier once you've learned the tricks of the game to win with it, because it tends to have magic or more obvious killing power and things like that. Good tends to be more nuanced in where its strength is, or like they don't go into scenarios quite as easily for a lot of players, or scale down.
They maybe have a higher ceiling, is what you're trying to say?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Dragon Emperor Legendary Legion is pretty much what a good army is. But it doesn't actually have the downside to it, which is why even with a 30 points increase to the Emperor is still so solid once you get to the high points. But good just costs more points. Their heroes cost more points, and their troops cost more points. And the nature of the game is most events are going to be 800 points or lower, which supports more horde armies, generally speaking. Fewer exceptions.
Working with
I think the main advantage is they can shoot into combat, right? And good don't have.
I mean, it is a significant advantage.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So, and good don't have something to balance that out, right? Good don't have their thing, which is like that evil can't do.
Unique to them.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
mean,
inherently unfair, isn't it?
yes and no. Like in theory, it's because of where they're more expendable. Shooting into combat isn't actually a disadvantage in the same way. But I think if you actually had more tournaments that were over 800 points and under, good would win more events than evil would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because suddenly that horde advantage or like the warband capacities that they can bring
That was
is no
why.
longer as big advantage.
That was why, like unnumbered tiers, like
Mm.
most of the top players were all using good
Yeah.
lists.
Positional play is harder than the tricks as well. I do agree with that from Mali.
The final thing to probably mention here, then, maybe, is that from the UK perspective, obviously, a lot of our event preview episodes that we do is dominated by Mordor Serpent Horde lists, but I saw very few. I can't even remember seeing any. Did you guys see any? I'm sure there were.
Yes, I saw a few.
Yeah.
Was there a few?
Well,
Okay, but I mean, a fair
one
few.
notable thing is Ash isn't there, so
Ash
that
isn't there, so yeah,
like decreases
but,
the amount of Mordor Serpent Horde.
like a
High
fair
five.
few. A
Yeah.
fair few of the there's 9 Serpent Hordes there, and there's a fair few that are allied with Corsairs, and there's a couple other Soladans kind of dropped into some odd lists, so there aren't actually that many kind of traditional Witch King Soladan kind of lists going, which is obviously very different to what we're used to.
I think it's partly because they tend to have a lot of components other armies may want as well. Is like if you're going for an Angmar list, which there's 7 of them there, you're probably taking a Witch King, which would rule out sort of Mordor Serpent Horde.
Yeah, where you can take pure Mordor as a separate.
Yeah.
Or the Spider King or something.
I mean, I also would say it's still very good at 800, but the reason why it works so well is because it's such an all-comer list. You don't need to have an all-comer list in quite the same way in the event format. Like you could go for sort of a lot more edge case lists, which will work more in the drafting than the Mordor Serpent Horde.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there's probably still 1 or 2. There'll be variations on it.
Yeah, I think there's a couple.
It's been more popular in the UK recently than it has been in Europe generally.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think one of the main differences from the list is also like just from looking. I mean, I'm surprised by how many is that? What, 5 Shire? I feel like I remember seeing way more Shire lists with Glorfindel and getting your 50, 60 models with that with Kieran. Like that seems obviously more prevalent in overseas, but
the good yellow alliances are pretty popular.
I don't think we ever really see any of those.
We saw Farmer use
that
it
much,
yeah,
recently, but like it's once in a blue moon sort of thing.
So that Shire Yellow Alliance thing with elves and stuff used to be really popular last edition in the UK, and then it got replaced by Lake Town.
Yeah.
In the UK, and then Lake Town obviously recently got nerfed. I say recently, it's quite a while ago now.
Recently in the game's life cycle.
Yeah, got nerfed, and I think it's one of those ones where, again, because we've been playing low point events, and like that alliance, you need to have like Glorfindel or like high point elf heroes and stuff like that. We kind of haven't seen that hit yet. It may start shifting back that way, as like Sam said, Dave Farmer took it, got a second at a GWH 100 the other week.
Admittedly, I do think the draft helps it because I look at that and think if a lot of lists do body it.
We may be coming on to talk about a list that has the Shire in. So
so
we will table this discussion, but yeah, we will.
Is it Defenders of the Shire?
That would be Chad.
We will move on to have a look at the leader breakdown. So for the Spotify listeners, in line with the faction breakdown, the leader with the most appearances is the Dragon Emperor with 18 appearances. Then Musger in second place with 15. And then down from there, we have the Witch King in third with 14. And then there's a big drop down to fourth place with 8 appearances. We have Theoden and Galadriel with 6 appearances. We have Gwaihir and Thranduil, and then loads of other heroes as well. So any takeaways from this?
I mean, whoever thought Mizkit would come second? Like,
Following on from the last slide, yeah, who would have?
Yeah, no. I mean, Witch King's still very popular, so I think it's just people have decided we'll alternate on Barndor. Sort of like they want Witch King and Angmar, or they want it like to maybe go with Spider Queen instead, and then we can use Scylladan as you mentioned with Corsairs. The spread's kind of what you would expect.
I thought there would be as many. I thought there would be the highest amount of appearances would be the Witch King. I thought more people would want to take the Witch King than the Dragon Emperor.
But the thing is, if you're taking Dragon Emperor, like as in the Legion, he has to be the leader. Like, you can take Witch King in some armies where he's not the leader.
I guess. I'm not sure if there are any of those, but it could be.
Yeah. I think there is.
Is there?
I think there's one of them is an Isengard Mordor one with Saruman as the leader.
I didn't think that one had the Witch King. I think
we did. It was. I think it actually in this slide. I'm fairly certain.
It doesn't have the Witch King in. It doesn't.
There is one that has Saruman, Witch King.
Well, there's two lists on your thing which say has Saruman as the leader.
Yeah, there is one that has a Saruman, Witch King, and a Great Beast, and it's. I saw that, and 100%. So there is a few that have Witch King as not the leader.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, the one thing is it does show you how good armies have more variation. Anyway, now Elliot's gone.
Yeah.
He's upset with you telling him about being wrong.
Well, tough luck.
Yeah.
There's quite a few Elendils going. 3. I mean, it's not actually that much, but
and you're not even there. Like,
yeah, more than you expect, right? I don't know.
I mean, it's good versus evil and
Elendil. You can go. I'm ignoring magic. Like, this is where the team and the draft system is. You could really build a hammer list with Elendil to sort of avoid Numenors or whatever's usual downfalls, or you can make it like with the Kurdan Rivendell and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Any more takeaways from the leader breakdown at all?
And I respect the Dwimmer.
I was about to say that.
Fair play to whoever's using that.
I'm not gonna lie. I think that's a dummy list.
I hope not. I hope that list is going, and that'll be insanely tippable.
Insanely tippable. That's how.
You know, the interesting thing is there's only one Uruk-hai captain as leader, which I'm assuming is going to be the Assault on Helm's Deep.
Yeah. I mean, what else would it be?
Yeah, but it shows how much that has dropped off.
That's what I was about to say. Look how the mighty have fallen. One Assault on Helm's Deep. That's crazy.
So the last ETC event that I went to, I think Assault on Helm's Deep was in. It was like pulling Dragon Emperor numbers in terms of how many teams featured it.
We weren't doing event previews back then, so there is no official record, but.
Yeah. So I could say whatever I want and it'd be taken as truth. But are there many Lurtzes?
The two Uglux are also the same things essentially with Lurtz and
yes, I saw that. I was quite interested by that, yeah, because it's essentially
Ugluk, Brasku, and someone else.
Yeah, are they like crossbow lists?
Yeah, they're spam crossbow with 3 ballistas.
It's essentially like Jay's list, but
yeah, no, it's showing the pattern of people going, we're better off going back to the normal Isengard crossbow spam as opposed to the Legendary Legion version.
Yeah, there's a Saruman crossbow as well.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that's going to do it for the leader breakdown. So we will move on to start looking at some of the lists. So I thought we would start with the home team, Belgium. And I thought, as kind of there were so many of them, I thought we should maybe talk about, the Dragon Emperor first of all. So for the Spotify listener, this is a Dragon Emperor list, obviously led by the Dragon Emperor, who is leading 17 Black Dragons with Pike and Shield and 1 Cataphract with Drum and an Axe. Then they have a Dragon Knight leading 6 with Pike and Shield, Brawgear leading 6 normal Easterlings with Pike and Shield and 3 Acolytes with Axes, and then an Easterling Captain with Shield leading 4 normal Easterlings, again with Pike and Shield, and another 3 Acolytes with axes. So there were a number of different kind of builds of the Dragon Emperor for me to choose from. Obviously 18, but this was just one that I chose. So it's 44 models, 0 bows, but obviously it has the 6 throwing weapons and 9 might. So what do we think on this particular configuration?
Well, so majority of the Emperor list going were just the 3 heroes.
Yeah, I saw a few sort of like this, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I think
lots of Ratabis, lots of Ratabis.
yeah, like, nearly, I'd say over 10, 100%, maybe 12 or so were
Yeah,
the 3
it's like
named.
2/3 ish or something. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Again, Emperor just does do it's solid all round, so it goes well into the draft pick of placing down one first kind of thing. And yeah,
It's hard
it's
to go wrong with an
yeah.
Emperor list.
Again, it's one where you either outgrinds a lot of stuff and you win small, or you get a draw, you get a small loss kind of thing, and you're not too upset because it's being placed down first kind of thing. And yeah,
My interesting take on the Emperor is in Good v Evil, there's going to be more lists that could take it out on Good than there are
agree.
on Evil. So I think if it is going to be people's like put it forward list and expect a win, they may get less wins than they think out of it. Because it will be on people's minds as well, going, how do we take out the Dragon Emperor?
Yeah, I think the only thing is that I think the lists that do well into the Emperor are inherently also the good version of the list that you throw down first. So
Like what?
Well,
You mean like elf lists?
yeah, like a say a
So dwarfs and elves and an alliance of dwarfs and elves do well against Emperor
yeah,
because
and I think that's more of a list in good that you would also throw
Yeah,
down
put down
first,
initially. Yeah, yeah.
because it does a similar job in the sense that it will either win small against a tough game, or draw, maybe get a minor loss kind of thing. So you place it down first, and that's it. Like, I don't think it's going to get its instant counter straight away, because I think there's less. Is there less good lists that you can place down first and feel confident? I'm unsure.
depends on how the team's built their list.
Yeah. So, although I
Thing I'd
agree.
say about this one is, and I don't know how many of them are built this way. Only having one cataphract, I think, is a mistake.
Yeah, it's a bit sus.
Like
You need at least one other. Like you
yeah,
can go with more. I usually went with the drum and 2 more, so you can run off 3 and say
yeah.
recon, for example. But even just 1 more, because you don't want to be having to run the drum off of the board, or like you want the drum to be safe and then have at least one other cav to go for objective or something.
Yeah, I also kind of half think when I've been looking at it, you don't need to put the cataphract in actually. You don't need him to be a black dragon, so you don't have to have him in the Dragon Emperor's warband.
Well, I do like having him as a black dragon. I think losing one pike and shield dude or something is
No, but I mean, it's not essential. And you can save point. Like, this isn't how I build the Dragon Emperor list. I famously don't take Broger because he's unreliable. I mean, he can be amazing. He can also be useless.
It seems like there is more favoritism towards Brogia than on
In this list, I would rather go Ratabi and drop a
I
couple of
think
models.
the
it's
tremor is
just
really scary.
it's just
Yeah,
with
but
the
it's
point that
unreliable. For the role that this list is meant to do, in my view, and a team event, you don't need Broger doesn't do that. Help you do that because it's meant to be the sort of anvil list. Whereas I'd much rather have Rutabi, who can do Master Power, and crucially in Good v Evil gives you that extra fight
But
6 hero.
it does now though with the points increase with the Emperor, it is kind of harder to get everything you want in there now.
Yeah, I mean,
Especially
you
with
don't need 44 models though either.
no,
this
you
list.
could just take say another Dragon Knight, I think, instead of Borgir, and still obviously the Master of Battle is a really good, but like if you've got the 2 Dragon Knights plus the captain, you'd actually save points doing that as well. So
Well,
I took a double Dragon Knight Broadgate captain list at the weekend, and my list struggled doing exactly what Ali said, instead of going into a good army that was also fight 5, fight 6, and I'd have loved to have had a fight 6 Rutabi instead of the 2 Dragon Knights.
I
that
love
could
that.
go down quite easily.
And I guess if there is any points level that you can fitter in, it is going to be 800. So
yeah,
Yeah.
so
Having used it quite a lot last year, I did notice, like, annoyingly, when I played Ben and we'd have a mirror match anyway, it's like when I don't have that second fight 6 hero, you really do feel it. It limits you. So yeah, I'd rather have less models and a Rutavi for the second
well, it
fight
is
6.
worth noting potentially then that Brawl gear at this event, though, as ruled by yourself, Ali, you are a TO, is insanely OP Brawl gear, right?
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know if it's officially been ruled yet, but I'm
Oh,
guessing
okay.
so.
We can
Yeah,
reserve
hold off,
judgment
hold off,
if
hold
that-
off.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, no, the ruling is probably going to be that you can only resist if you're one of the models under the line, as per the FAQ implication.
Yes.
But no,
Yeah.
that's how it's going to be played at the event.
Which is a separate topic, but if it is
Yeah.
ruled in that way, then there could be some sneaky Brawl gear shenanigans going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think people's love of Brawl gear, I get it, but it leans into the magic culture that's in the game at the moment and how people like to have that sort of shenanigan, basically.
I don't even. I mean, so when I've used Brawl gear, I mean, I've had some good times with Tremor, but the main thing for me, especially in our sort of meta, is just having access to the Fury, and I feel so much more
Which,
confident.
if you're doing good v evil, there's only going to be probably one list
Yeah,
which has Terror,
so
and that's if it's a Kurdan one.
In this sort of instance, maybe it's not.
And you're still
Or-
courage
or
4 with no
Frangiro.
-1. But
Yeah.
you're never going to be, because of the
I've
Black
had a lot
Dragon,
of
you won't be.
Fangirls. Yeah, but yeah,
You won't be Harbingered, basically. Which
yeah, that's
Harbinger.
Hamburger.
Oh, burger. Okay, well, that is enough from the home team's Dragon Emperor list. So we will move on to discuss a list from the Polish team that is attending, which is a Halls of Thranduil and Survivors of Laketown Alliance. So it is led by Thranduil, who's the who has all the kit. And he's leading 4 Palace Guard with shield, one with banner, shield, and spear, 5 Mirkwood Elves with shield, 5 Mirkwood Elves with bow, 2 Mirkwood Cavalry with shield, and 1 Wood Elf Sentinel. Then from the Survivors of Laketown, they are bringing Gandalf on horse with 3 Laketown Militia with spear, 4 with bow and spear, and 8 with shield and spear. And then they have a Laketown Militia captain leading 5 Militia with shield, 4 with bow and spear. So it's 45 models, 15 bows, and 8 might. So what do we think on this one?
This is one of the lists that I actually put into our chat regarding list building and stuff. Because I still have it on my notes as well. And it
you
is
got the date stamp on that, so we know you're not lying.
how
I
do you
said no.
Is that right? Oh no, you get 2020, 2020? 22.
Been planning this list for a while.
Falling apart.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I do like it, but the problem I see with this list is that I think Gandalf has to do a lot, like a lot.
I
It's
knew
not
you were going to
reliable
say
enough.
that from when you've used Gandalf before, and I mean, there's not much else going for this list.
It has terror. It has a fight 7, which is
Yeah.
good against fight 6 and
The elf contingent is obviously like we know what that sort of does and what it brings, like the fight
Yeah.
5 and all the other tools, but like the other half of the army is really kind of strengthened by Gandalf. I mean,
Yeah.
not sort of directly, but you're bringing that Lake Town half so that you can take Gandalf essentially. So you need him to do.
It's partly for model count. Getting 45 models with this is good. Giving Lake Town terror and having you basically turn Lake Town into elves when they're spear sporting, which is again, they're 7 points for bow and spear or 6 points for just spear, so they're really cheap. And you get a march with the 40-point captain. It's just that Gandalf in this list, I think for some of the pairings, there's going to be times where you need to do more than he doesn't have there's too much to do. Like you're gonna want to Sorcerer's Blast XYZ, but you don't have time because you need to transfix that person, or because I think as soon as these Palace Guard, because they're all the front line, you know, you have 5 elves of shield, 5 elves of just bow, so
And
they
also, just to touch on, yes, is that there's the 5 elves there with only bow, and I
yeah.
mean, you know, I would happily go down to 44 models and give those guys spears.
Yeah,
and do
just
some
like
tests. But,
are they are you frontliner with
they at
the
the
elf
front,
bow?
yeah, I don't know.
And you have 4 Palace Guard with shield again. They're obviously
So
again heroes good, but you kill those elves. Some heroes go in, strike, kill 2.
Then the Lake Town just absolutely dies.
Yeah, it's
And obviously, usually the Lake Town has a 12-inch banner behind it as well, but you know that's obviously not a thing.
I mean, I think this is more of a draft list in terms of you would never really expect it to do well in a GB like a
yeah.
singles event.
I guess that's the lens we have to look at all these.
Yeah, but it's there going. Do you think this would do well against Dragon Emperor?
I don't know whether this is a list you throw down first or a list you save. I don't really know where
The
this fits into.
Dragon Emperor, obviously, you're matching it model count. You've got terror and stuff like that, but you're really
Yeah.
relying on your troops out killing the Eastlings.
The
I don't know
Easterlings
whether
will-
they do that reliably.
Also, the Emperor, I mean, sometimes the shield wall can, if you just don't roll many sixes, the troops can struggle to kill, even with the pike block. But I have had games before where the pike block just doesn't kill enough.
The problem
D6
is most of your army's D5 here.
against
That's why.
what I mean. And
yeah.
it can really, like, you know, the Emperor could
So if
really
you say
block
you
it.
probably don't want to face Emperor with it,
No.
what about AOL?
It's got, but admittedly, this list has a lot of both.
Because I think this can go into AOL and come out on top because you won't be massively outnumbered. You'll fight. They will struggle to charge you, or at least half their army will, unless they've gone for both shamans, which means.
I think a lot of them have. I
You
think.
surely
Yeah.
just say Goblin Shaman and then
But I mean, Gandalf can be a pain in the ass for the Goblin Shamans and stuff like that. But you'll beat it in combat, and you don't have to worry about it shooting so much. So, like, I mean, it may be able to take over. I don't think it's a slam dunk though. But
yeah, and I think there's better lists that go into AOL. So like,
but you may need
Oh,
those
yeah.
lists for something
Yeah,
else.
for other.
you do, but like, what else? I don't. What else would this do? What else would you want to pair this into? Like, say if there's quite
I
a few
mean,
animals.
I can see this as being a versus Assault on Helm's Deep list as well. Because it's there.
Yeah,
I mean, as in
Yeah,
they
high
were
fight.
expecting
Yeah.
more. Yeah, you go higher fight, D5, because there's no point being D6.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
when they were
running
getting
high.
strength 4.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You can like outshoot them more or less, and then like in combat you'll take them on. So that is the evil army, like the crossbow list. That this will probably be. But I don't know if there's enough of them there for this to be. I wouldn't be surprised if this list got dropped, although it is still a third blinding light, potentially, if you just assume that they may have Galadriel and Kurdan somewhere
It's a
else.
good list, yeah. I think it's just like we said, like it isn't something you would traditionally think to see at like very competitive event. But yeah, just with the draft, it obviously changes the
Because I was thinking, like I said, I was thinking of taking this list, and it was actually I was going to take it to Gondolin as well if I was, but it's I just don't know if it has enough. I feel like it's just missing something, and
Yeah.
others do it a little bit better. That was the problem I had with it.
What this list needs is falling on goat, basically, but you
it needs
can't
something.
quite get it points wise.
Admittedly, I guess strengthening Will Thranduil to make it so he's harder to sap Will and keep your terror up. I mean, there's definitely things there, but it's so minor. I feel like it's not substantial enough to really think, okay, fair enough. This is good. I want to take this. I don't know.
Yeah. Any closing thoughts? No? Okay. We will move on to talking about a list from the team named Gaul, which is not a country.
It sounds like you've never had a history lesson in your life before.
Is Gaul a country?
Apologies.
Oh, it's funny. No, Elliot.
This is the French second team. So they are taking a three-way yellow alliance of Mordor, Isengard, and Serpenhorde. So it is led by Saruman on horse, who is taking Grima, 11 Uruk-hai with shield, 1 Huskarl, and 1 Crebain. Then from Serpenhorde, he is just allied in Suladan, not on horse. And then from Mordor, he has Math Sauron on horse, leading 2 Orc Trackers and 11 Morannons with shield spear, and a great beast of Gorgoroth. So it's 41 models. I've only put 2 bows, even though there's all the ones on the Great Beast, so sorry. And 10 might. So what do we think about this one?
This is dog.
I mean, I actually don't think it is dog.
It's not. But
This is the list I would
is.
actually want to use because I'm an advocate for this list because first of all, it's pretty funny. Second of all,
Doesn't make it good.
but this is actually decent in the sense of this doesn't want to play evil. If you have double compel against the beast, you're upset.
Yeah.
But you don't. You're against good. You're only going to play 1. You have Saruman who outranges every good caster apart from good Saruman. You have a second transfix as well to potentially deal with it, so your Great Beast can do its Great Beast things. Plus, Sorcerer's Blasting into the Great Beast is obviously cheesy. And I just think like some lists you may, the Great Beast with the bows on top, you will, I guess, outshoot some lists if good don't take enough bows.
As Vince says, can shoot into combat, so has
Yeah.
an unhealthy advantage over good.
As well as again the blinding light or the casters you take in good, less only really Gandalf has I think direct damage magic. So Grima is way better because you can't just black dart. You either have to source blast it with Gandalf, and that's it. You can't. Galadriel does nothing. Círdan does nothing.
It's got insane mobility with the Crebain.
Exactly that as well. It's way more awkward to deal with.
One thing I really did want to ask though, is there a reason why they've taken the Huskarl?
No, especially when you got 41 models and you got a Suladan who hasn't got a horse at the moment.
Exactly. Just go down to 40 models and give Suladan a horse.
That is the bit that I don't get in the list.
I wasn't sure if there was a reason because he
The Hustler's got bodyguard.
He could have just taken.
But you've got a 12-inch stand fast for Saruman. Anyway.
No, it's just that one bodyguard model to tie up a.
His bodyguard. Sorry. Yeah.
Terror-causing hero.
Suladan on a horse. Over
is his bodyguard, or is it bodyguard Dunlending?
I think it's bodyguard leader. I don't know, but I presume that's the reason he's included it.
But I mean, I'd still go drop it,
Yeah.
give Suladan a horse, and then probably just get a couple of points. A couple of the Morannons may become normal orcs with spears and shields instead, or something like that.
It's just
maybe he's planning to have Suladan stand behind the Great Beast. Because he's not on his horse, you can't see him.
Yeah,
maybe.
But the list is built to try and essentially bring out the best of the Great Beast, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's got a solid battle line with the Uruk-hai warriors and the Morannons with shields backed up by a 6-inch banner.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's just the Suladan on foot, which doesn't make sense to me when you're on 41 models.
Admittedly, this could be a troll list, a dummy list, which
I mean, I've seen Great Beasts at international events way more frequently than you would think.
Yeah,
despite what Dewey Evans may believe, he didn't invent taking Great Beasts competitively.
I wouldn't be surprised if it is, but I would expect them to take this at the same time because
it would do well into a lot of good lists because of the Great Beast being able to.
It's just so awkward to deal with for good lists.
And most people aren't used to. It's got so many stuff that you won't play at 5 out of 6 tournaments you go to.
Yeah.
So yeah, it could be a wild card. Save it in the pocket. Make sure it's an ideal thing in the draft.
It looks insanely fun to me as well. Like I want to use this at a tournament in the UK because it would be hilarious to play. Because again, it's a head scratcher for people that haven't, like you said, Ali.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like it.
I would say you put total bows here, Elliot. How many?
So I already apologise for being
It
incorrect.
did, to be fair to him.
Oh, did you? I tend not to listen to you these days.
I know.
It's got double march. It's got double march as well. It's
Double march, double
sheesh,
caster. Yeah.
sheesh, guys. This is spicy.
Nervous. Okay. We will move on to a Lothlorien and the Shire alliance, which is a list from the team from Austria, and it's led by Galadriel, who's leading 3 warriors with spear, 8 guard of the Galadriel court, 1 wood elf warrior with banner and wood elf spear, 5 wood elves with wood elf spear and bow, and then 1 wood elf sentinel. And sorry, there's a Misty Mountains ally as well, as of course Gwahir is in here as well. And then from the Shire, there is Meriadoc, captain of the Shire, on pony, leading 4 Hobbit militia, 6 battling Brandybucks, 5 Hobbit archers, and then Farmer Maggot leading 5 Hobbit militia and 4 Hobbit archers, and then Will Whitfoot leading 6 Hobbit militia and 4 Hobbit archers. So it's 60 models, 19 bows. Now I've put a star there because there's obviously loads of throwing stones. So yeah, and 10 might. So what do we think on this one?
Elliot, just out of curiosity, do you know what Will Whitfoot does?
He's the banner for the Hobbit.
Oh, fuck's sake, Ben. Honestly, Elliot.
We just did the Lord of the Spins on him, didn't we?
Have we?
Yeah, I know what Will Woodford does.
Oh yeah, no, I just I had a feeling Elliot wouldn't know what Will Whitfoot does because I think the last time you probably would have played him was against Ash when you played him at Into the West.
So would it matter then if I didn't know what Will Whitfoot did?
No, I
No.
was just intrigued, mate. That was all.
It doesn't. No.
There
So
is.
yeah.
Yeah, there is a banner here.
Yeah. What do we think then?
I'm unsure personally.
Does this list always need Gwahir? It's like I've never seen. I've seen this list, obviously, but I've never
It
seen
doesn't
it.
need him.
It always seems to be those 3, that triple alliance. I've never seen hobbits and elves.
It's because they're all yellow with each other.
There is a
Might as well,
Hobbit
right?
and Elves one there at the event with Glorfindel, but
Now, Vince, this is how you write the legal version of this list.
Oh right,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
is the leader Gwahir at it? Did you say?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay.
No, sorry, I said Galadriel, but let me double check. Because there,
Because-
I have seen some lists, yeah, which have Gwahir, which are led by Gwahir, but I don't know. If this is-
Obviously, your chance of playing contest is
1
high.
and 3 ish.
Yeah.
To be fair, someone's going to correct me on the stats on that properly because of its.
But it's higher when it's 18, instead of the pools, which I think I would prefer Gwahir if this is a leader.
I would personally, I would take the risk and go Galadriel as a leader
Do you
because
think?
in every other game, Galadriel's not going to be in combat and will be behind. Like so, it's there going because it is a team event. It's there
Yes,
going.
yeah,
You
you
can
lose
take
that
the
one.
hit on that one.
Yeah, no, true. Fair enough. I like
but-
Will just because of the 6-inch banner with elves is good and the actual banner.
Does that banner only affect hobbits? I know you can
Yes.
still benefit, but it means
Yeah,
that you
only
have to,
affects hobbits, I'm pretty sure.
But there's lots of them.
yeah.
Uh,
How many spears is there? What, 6, 14, 17? So
Yeah.
I
They'll
mean,
just
Your
go
battle
behind
line will be
each other as well.
speared. I think this is a list which, if I'm the team captain, I chuck it in first and early as an all-comers list. Because you can go into most lists and most scenarios and go, cool, we're probably drawing this game. Like,
Yeah.
if I really want to, I can just deny you a major victory.
there's a lot of hobbits here that aren't obviously spear supported, and obviously 4-inch move is a big deal because the only the march is Merry here, right?
yeah.
So obviously your movement, like your actual battle line is like, although you have 6-inch moving space force, you're only ever moving 4 realistically because they're your front. And 60 models aren't going to fit under blind and light. So
There are some hobbits dying.
yeah, obviously it's a lot of bows. So
I-
You can channel it, right?
So how does this do against AOL?
it's see, I think I prefer this against AOL because the model count's higher. And you can easily hide Maggot, Will, and Mary from
You can hide Maggot.
you can hide Maggot. I just think against AOL, it's model count is the best thing to have against it.
Yeah.
Like I think a spam ministerial list is probably one of the best lists to go into AOL because you'll then fight for loads of models, heroes you don't care about, kind of thing. This is similar in a sense, but it has Guai here instead, which
Yeah.
and your front line is only what, D3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we think it needs 8 Guard of the Galadriel Court?
Probably not in good but evil.
So I
If you were going into blue on blue, yes.
Yeah.
What else do you spend those points on though?
I think
Yeah,
you
that's the
upgrade some of those wood elves to normal elves. You're already such low defense. I mean,
That's something. Who cares anyway? Then I think if you've
yeah, but it would be nice. Is just what I'm saying. Like you could put shields on the 3 that have only got spears, and then upgrade some of the other wood elves to dudes with shield and spear.
I mean, you can get 2 more models.
I think
I saw
unfortunately
that as well because there's 2 more, but yeah, I think like some more high defense would just be useful in spots because what you've only got
I think unfortunately, if you're with all your army being D3, if your spear sporting D6 models are then if that's the problem, I think you've already lost the game because
sure,
maybe-
yeah, other things. Yeah.
My problem with this list is it doesn't kill a D6 army. Like, if it was to come up against Dragon Emperor,
Yeah.
doesn't matter your higher fight value, it's just going to get blitzed. Which is possibly why though the God of Galadriel are there is maybe with Dragon
Right.
Emperor in mind.
Yeah, maybe.
But
Yeah.
you need to be able to kill a D6 model to outgrind the Dragon Emperor. Because it doesn't matter if you're throwing 3 dice at higher fight value. They're throwing 4 and not going to die to your strength 3. Whereas you will die with your defense 3.
Yeah.
Are the Brandy Bucks of strength 3 that can pierce?
Pretty sure, yeah.
But how many? There's only, what, 6 of them?
So can they only go in Mary's Warband? Because I did think, why isn't there more of them?
Yeah, I think you pay
Yeah.
out. You think you pay a point or so?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think if
fine.
I was to change this list, I'd have made Mary's Warband all the strength 3 guys with axes.
Yeah.
Admittedly, I can't remember half the Hobbit names of the heroes and stuff like that. So they may not. I'm assuming they are the right ones.
Yeah, I think that's them. Yeah.
It'd have been interesting if they went with Halford, which makes the sheriffs burly.
Yeah, that I think would have been more
that's
my
good, yeah.
choice. Over
There is one.
Maggot's good though. To be fair, you get the dogs.
Yeah, there is a list that I did see that has Holfer instead with. I think it has like 12 of the early ones. I don't know.
Yeah, it will. That's his max warband,
Yeah,
and he only affects within 3 inches. So
yeah. I'll be intrigued to see what this gets prioritized against. And I mean, again, it could be a list that they don't take. So
Yeah.
but
I
yeah,
feel like it's a waste of a Galadriel if you're
that is
not
true.
taking
And
it.
Guai.
Yeah, true that.
Um,
True that. So maybe it is, going to stay. Yeah. Okay. I think that's going to do it though. So we will move on to a Team England list. Could this be Ben Haslam playing this? It is the AOL, as obviously there's loads of them going to the event, and this is the one that Team England has decided to take. So it's led by Musger, of course, who's leading 12 orcs with spear, 1 with banner, and a bat swarm. Then there's a orc captain on warg leading regular orc warrior, 2 warg riders with throwing spear, and 2 orc trackers. Then there's a orc shaman leading 8 orcs with spear. Druzag leading 8 prowlers, 1 bat swarm, and 3 giant spiders. A Moira Goblin Captain leading 9 Goblin Warriors with bow, and a Shaman leading 8 Goblin Warriors with bow. So it's 62 models, 19 bows, and then you've also got the 8 Prowlers as well, and 10 Mites.
What's the core point, Elliot?
The what, sorry?
What's core 25% for this list?
Have I done it wrong? 25%? What? Oh, I don't think I've changed it. The viewers won't see that.
No. I mean, it's assault on Lothlorien, isn't it? How many spiders is it? 3 spiders.
Yeah.
1, 2 bat swarms.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously numbers over Gribblies. You don't really need more than 3 spiders.
Yeah.
Because it gives you the options you need with Mersker.
Now, I saw there was a number of the other teams took Ashrak.
Yeah, that's the one thing I would consider.
Yeah, which isn't something that the Team England or the Lions, so either of the 2 English teams did. I thought it was interesting.
So Ashrak gives you an extra trick, and this is a list that likes its tricks.
But what do you drop? Who do you drop to
Yeah,
get?
I mean that's it. You're then going. Do you want the March or the Shaman? Is what you're swapping out for it.
Do you need the 2 captains though? What's the thought
So
with
you've got
that?
2 Goblin cap. No, one's an Orc captain and Warg, who is actually kind of quite more killy than you would expect.
That is
if you go
nice.
for the piercing strike
But then
one.
why do you need the other one? How many points is Ashrak?
55, I think.
55. So
It's 20 points.
So it's not many more points
Extra.
than the Goblin captain,
20 points, 4 gobos.
I guess. Have you got to then
don't
pay
think you
for the
need-
Venomback spiders? Sorry, no.
No, they're free.
Yeah. So
I mean, I imagine it's a thing you don't want to drop below 60 models psychologically.
yeah.
I probably would have gone Ashrak, although I'm not someone who really has ever used this list, so I wouldn't profess to be an expert on it.
I think
I've
a lot of
just
the
played
thought
it a lot of
process.
time and goes, I'll kill goblins and orcs and it'll be fine.
I think a lot of the thought process is like, do you need Ashrak in order, like the things that you're enraging still get really, really good?
The reason why I like the idea of Ashrak at 800, I don't think lower is really that important, is because you've got one Drurzak and there's a limited amount of stuff you can do with him, and then after that you don't have any redundancy. Like when I've played against AOL before, having Ashrak, you can do the whatever it's called, the Shroud of Shadows,
Shadow,
and sort of as an extra arrow in your quiver. It's not an essential one, but it is nice to have.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's because you've only got 3 spiders. Drurzak will do what you need. Like, as in, you haven't really got the Gribblies to make Ashrak worth it. I don't know.
Yeah. Any other thoughts from anyone?
I don't think Ashrak's needed personally. I think you can position your spiders in a way that you can kind of get the same effect of Shadows if you play the list enough anyway. Which I think because obviously, is it 2.5 hour round limit or timer?
Yeah.
It's a long time, and
Also a deployment as well, isn't there?
10-minute deployment at the time, I think.
Yeah, and then also 2.5 hours. So that
Just like I think maybe the models that are going to get plus onto it anyway when you wrap and trap with.
So actually, that's a comment to make though. Is I think AOL's biggest weakness across this weekend will be round time.
The time limit, yeah.
So I know internationally, the games actually tend to be shorter than when I've gone and played there than what I would expect in the UK. So I've had like 2 hours for 800-point game, sort of max kind of thing. Whereas we've obviously got the extra time because AOL tends to do really well up until it does start falling apart, like most hordes and that do. So it may mean that those objectives or squares and stuff like you're getting victory points on, you do start running away a bit more. I don't know. What do people think AOL will struggle in the good side?
High model count.
And I think there's quite a lot of good lists which are edging on the higher model count with like survivors like we saw and things like that.
See,
I
would lean more
shy lists as well, and
But I think armies that win combat reliably against it. Like, so if you've got a 6-inch banner or bigger.
But what good lists have that?
Hmm?
What good lists have that?
Quite a lot of the dwarf ones. I mean, I'm showing my bias here. So
Yeah,
I've pretty much never struggled against AOL in 800 points using a dwarf list, which has either got Thor or Old Dane, because you just blend through them, and then because if you've got a sweet target for them to kill with, like the spiders, then like you can be in trouble. But those style horde dwarf lists don't. Um, like I know one of the lists England put forward was 47 model Army of Thor,
yeah,
which would absolutely blitz this. Just because it's there going, even if you're shooting it, you're not going to do the damage, and then combat comes along, and then you just grind through it way quicker than you would like the AOL player would probably expect.
yeah.
Um,
I think I think the sweet spot would be a D5, just spam, because I agree that if you're high enough defense with a decent model count, you dwarfs would obliterate it. But if you're just enough so that they wound you on fives when they shoot, but you're matching their models to start with, but you're fight four, you may
It's the strength 4 as well that you want, because then you're
Yeah.
suddenly wounding them on 4s the second you're in combat. And if your hero is just a buffing hero like Thor is, which is essentially a banner, you can bubble wrap him. The bats and the spiders suddenly become nowhere near as useful because they can't get into him to basically go and take him off the table because he's so well protected, and the troops just munch.
And I think those Gladiol lists also could cause issues for the same reason, where Gladiol will be a bubble, and she will make the shooting more ineffective.
Yeah. Obviously, you don't want to play this into combat.
Thranduil's might, because of the terror and everything. I know they've got the shamans, but it's not going to cover the whole battle line.
And it forces them to use that.
Yeah, and they're getting 4s to wound because of +1 to wound. And Thranduil doesn't need to go in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's going to do it for the AOL list. So we will move on to a list from Team Italy, who are taking Helm's Guard at 800 points. So it is led by Helm Hammerhand on horse, leading 11 warriors of Rohan with throwing spear and shield, 1 with banner and throwing spear, and 6 Royal Guard with throwing spear. Then there are 2 captains leading identical warbands of 6 warriors of Rohan with throwing spear and shield, and 5 Royal Guard with throwing spear. But one of the warbands has a outrider on horse as well. And then there is a third warband, also led by a captain on horse, though, this time, leading 1 more over a hammer throwing spear shield and 2 outriders on horse. So it's 48 models, only 3 actual bows, but obviously you have tons of throwing spears, and then 9 might, but obviously you have the heroic combat from Helm. So what do we think?
You know, we're talking about lists that like to play AOL. You've just found it here.
Yeah. I was just about to say
with
that.
all the throwing spears, with the huge model count. This would love playing that.
I think it's 40. I remember looking at this. I think I was talking to John about it. I think it's 41 throwing spears.
Wow.
Amateur numbers, really.
It's a lot of throwing spears, and when you're fight 5 within 6 of Helm, 6 points of march, 3 move every turn. This can kite for way too long, and it's like taking a few throwing spears is, you might get the odd kill. However, this can reliably kite and kill 4 or 5 models every shoot phase, which is a substantial amount of models. So after 2 turns of shooting, 10 models down is too many. And I think obviously pairings is going to help it. I think this is. I think it's a very smart choice regarding it.
I don't know why he didn't make the Captain Rohan with horse, that warband fully mounted. Like he could have just put
the other outrider.
the other outrider in there instead of that warrior Rohan with foot. But
gives you a bit of flexibility in like a maelstrom.
Yeah, so I guess if even recon that, say if it's a fully mounted warband and that doesn't come on for 2 turns, like I guess, or say if that comes on straight away and the other ones don't,
I mean, I know Italian guy came over here and was runner-up in the GT a couple of years ago. I think it was Alessandro, or Itali, as Dave Clubley nicknamed him. Using this, it was 700 points and did very well with it. It's a bit like when I use Fairj's card, but Helm version. So I know the list works. It'd be a list I'd be interested in taking if I was going to the event. But I think it's one you keep in the pocket because you probably don't want to play Dragon Emperor with it.
I think Emperor's the biggest one to.
And there may be a Shadow Lord or two running around, which obviously you don't want to play either.
Yeah. You want the throwing spears to actually do some damage and to, kite and be able to get value out of them.
Yeah.
I think this is one that can. Yeah, it's a win big list when it isn't paired into Emperor.
Well, I mean, Helm against like the Magic though. I mean,
you don't need him.
I mean, to be fair, actually, he does get 5/5, doesn't he?
Yeah, you're quite fine.
Oh, I guess
you are just that matchup is going to be your fishing for sixes.
Yeah.
But you won't be able to kite as well because of the drum.
So it looks like he's going for a Warrior of Rohan front line instead of a Royal Guard. Maybe he prefers the axes over the D6. I don't know. I think I would have preferred it the other way around.
I guess if you're playing against Terra, you can have them at the front.
Yeah, you've got change. Either way. That's the really nice thing about this list is you're flexible.
So do we think it's better with more Royal Guard?
No, I think
you've got enough. I think
50-50 split.
50-50 is right.
Yeah.
16 Royal Guard is a lot anyway.
Yeah.
But if you're playing against Alterra and you need a front line of it,
he has it.
Is that?
Yeah. He's got it.
Yeah. Fair.
Yeah. And I mean, to get up to 48 models is like a good place. So
yeah, I think it's one of the ones you don't want to drop lower than 48 models with this list because
then you've got a lot of D5 and you're kind of on the more
and you are relying on Helm, who is probably going to get magicked in half the matchups at some point.
Yeah.
But Helm's fight value 5 is less of a hindrance as well and good for evil.
He didn't even give
Dragon Emperor.
He didn't even give any of the captains shields.
They're literally just a throwing spear delivery mechanism that way.
Yeah.
Like you may not want to play it, end up doing assassination or something like that, but you just hide them behind your line. You're literally there as Mike caddies those ones.
Would you not drop a couple of models just to give them shields?
No.
So no.
You need that model.
More throwing spears.
Yeah.
You start going down to like 45 models, you're in the more average model count sort of region, and the high amount of D5 then looks worse, but
you've got to churn for about 30 models before you can get into the captains consistently. Good luck.
I like it generally.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah. Okay.
That's cool.
I think that will do it. Shout out to the Italian team. I have some Italian heritage, so shout out.
That's why he looks like the disappointing son of a mafia boss if you ever go to an event.
Apparently so. We will move on to a very interesting list from Team USA making the long trip over to Europe.
USA.
It is a Angmar and Azog's Legion alliance. Now, I can't remember who the leader was, Ali. Do you remember?
It has to be Azog.
Yeah, because he's a legend.
Oh, cool, sorry, because he's legend. Sorry, so anyway, I was reading up on some impossible ally rules, which was quite interesting. So from the Azog's Legion section, he has taken Azog on the Warg with heavy armor and the stone flail, which is very interesting, and a Gundabad berserker. And then from Angmar, he has Gullivar leading 7 orcs with shield, 7 with spear, 1 with banner spear shield, a orc captain, I haven't put a space in there, leading 6 orcs with shield and 6 with spear, and then another captain just on foot leading another 6 with shield and another 6 with spear. So it's 44 total models, but I haven't put on the break or the quarter because they're treated as broken individually based on the army rather than a combined, you know, two factions. So 13 might, but that is obviously Azog has the Master of Battle as well. So that's why he's
Does he?
taking. No, he doesn't.
I'll go as far as to say. So I look forward to. I mean, from all the lists I saw, and I think nearly saw all of them. No disrespect. I think this is the worst list submitted. However,
I mean, I wouldn't go that far, but
I saw this and thought, what in the flying if this isn't a troll list and if they take this, holy shit, fair play. However, I would bet a lot of money this is not a list that they're planning on using.
Yeah.
Now they have clearly put some thought into it though, because they've taken the Berserker there so that
all lists submitted are going to have thought into it because
no, but I'm just saying, like
I don't know.
they've clearly
haven't seen any
put
of the lists
like
I
a fair
take to
amount of
events.
thought into their impossible allies, sort of, and how they want to make it work.
I rate it like highly. However, as Gulliver can be shot first of all.
Although
and
you could avoid that in the draft.
You can. However, he also is best paired with magic, and I think as soon as you don't do that, it's like, and it's none of, I guess, the captains, their moves affect him. They don't affect Azog. It's just so odd. I just don't know
But
what
the
this
banner doesn't affect Azog either, so he's having to spend. I mean, he doesn't have to spend his might on moves unless he only wants to move
And
himself.
like, what the stone flail makes you fight 6, right?
Yeah.
So why would you
That's
take
the
that?
bit that I don't get. I could kind of see the logic going, I've got 2 fight 7 heroes going into good armies, so I'm
You don't-
one-upping them.
You
But
don't have to use
that
the
logic's been removed by giving him the stone flail.
You don't have to use the flail though, do you? So you can still be.
I'm pretty sure you do.
Really?
I don't know, someone check that.
I
But
just
this
thought
way,
it was,
that shows the last time I saw someone use the flail.
I've never seen someone use it. I just thought it was when you use the flail, you reduce your fight value. I think that's what it is. I'll check.
Two-minute weapon follows normal rules when fighting with the stone flail. Yeah, this is when fighting.
No, when, so it doesn't say that you exchange your hand weapon for the stone flail.
No. You still
Add it
have.
on.
No, cool. So you can still do that.
You do have 2 fight 7. Like you've got to deal with Gulliver and Azog. That's tough, but
And you're only going to have 1 caster, so you're only going to be able to shut down 1.
The battle line dies so fast.
yeah, without the terror, like
It literally melts.
yeah.
And there's no dead marsh spectres to
Yeah,
pull
there's-
things out.
And the spears are
I'm
D4.
not gonna lie, we're gonna say all this, and like I'm gonna see Devon or someone who is actually rocking up with this, and he's gonna.
If
smash
Devon
people.
takes this, I will buy him a beer. I'll buy you many beers.
I know
Devon.
he's used Angmar quite well before.
Is this Angmar though? Is it? I mean, it's.
Yeah, it's Angmar with 1 model, which.
But it has none of the normal traits of like any Angmar list, bar Gulliver, because the orcs are literally just orcs in this.
They're just.
I mean, I don't think it's actually as bad as we've probably made it out to be. But it's bizarre.
I mean, if you play against something that doesn't have magic, then you've just got loads of orcs which you're hoping die slowly, and then you've got Gulliver and Azog running around.
But the problem is, I don't see how they die slowly.
Yeah, you don't have enough. I think this list you needed to hit over 50 models if that was your plan.
Yeah, I mean, he has trimmed away. Like there isn't anything else you can trim.
Yeah, I mean,
the stone flail. I would, yeah,
it's because he's maxed out on his warband limit, and then he didn't want to go for any more.
We had maxed out. Yeah, sorry, both. But I mean, Azog being 245 points. I mean, it's just,
Like I said, I cannot see a way they take this. If they do, I'll buy the whole team a pint because
the whole, they're 6-player teams, Sam.
That's fine. Fucking
and like, maybe
I'm going to play it round 1.
Hotel.
I play this. Oh man, it's so funny. I rate it though. I generally do. I like that if it's even been submitted, and that's why I'm
Pretty hard.
I mean, in the words of James Goble, this is events list.
No, my Halaf list was better than this.
No, yours was on par. Yours was on par, mate. No, it can't be. No.
Vince, you're lucky we're not doing the tier list tonight.
Yeah,
Oh.
I can't, like, what would this do well into?
It's not an auto lose if you turn up, is what I'm saying. Is in like in the skills, in the hands of a skilled player, you could probably win 3 games with this.
What into? What do you pair it into though? That is anyway
Anything that
near.
isn't magic. The only thing that you can do is pair it not into magic, and then just hope that Gulliver and Azog win you games.
I mean, you can go into magic. Gulliver's got magic resistance, Azog's got 4 will.
But
Okay,
I'm
so
saying, I think
There's
those.
only going to be one caster, remember, because it's only good armies it's
It's good.
facing.
But
So
I think almost any good army is going to shred the orcs. So then you need to.
yeah, well, it's the same problem that Angmar has normally. It's just that they
Well, no,
don't have
not-
anything to shut down enemy heroes for,
Yeah,
like,
But
so
you
they don't
need
have the
to-
magic or the shade themselves.
You need
So
to
it-
match it into things that Gulliver and Azog have the highest hopes of.
Yeah. So I guess if there's I don't know, good armies out there which are a bit lower model count, say under 38 models, this probably would do okay into it.
There's a few ones that have like Galadriel, Theodred, Dernhelm, like
or something.
spam. Like there's quite a few heroes essentially with
Yeah.
elf backline. But
The problem is, like, actually, if we compare it just to the good list we've looked at, Helmsguard were absolutely trashed this.
like generally, I don't think there's a good list that would lose.
Like, the Hobbit list that we looked at would shoot this to death because half of those Angmar warriors don't even have shields.
Yeah.
So the strength 2 bows will blitz it and they outnumber it. What other good lists have we looked at?
The Thranduil Gandalf one.
Yeah, that would end up killing half of this with shooting,
A lot of bows.
and then like
And it has
beats
terror.
it in combat.
And then it's
Yeah.
courage shoot everywhere. It's like if it plays against Círdan, it doesn't charge, and it plays against the Thranduil, it doesn't charge. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I've seen strange lists come out of the US before, almost as strange as some of the Oz lists. But normally there's a bit more logic behind them than I can see in this one.
Maybe there is something that we are missing. I don't know.
If Azog had Master of Battle, I'd be like, yeah, but because he doesn't, it's kind of, I don't know why you're going for Azog.
Just yeah, I don't know.
Someone wanted to use Azog and Gulliver in the same list, and
I rate it. I rate it high.
yeah. Okay, and on that note, we will move on to our final list of the episode, which is from Team France. So it is a 3-way alliance of Survivors of Lake Town, Halls of Thranduil, and Erebor Reclaimed. So it's led by Legolas on horse with Elven Cloak, leading 2 Mirkwood Cavalry with shield and 1 Wood Elf Sentinel. Then there is Tariel leading 8 Mirkwood Elves with glaive and 1 Mirkwood Elf with a banner. Then from Erebor Reclaimed, they have Gloin leading 3 Iron Hills Dwarves with shield and 4 with shield and spear. And then Biffa leading just 8 Dwarves with shield. And then from Survivors of Lake Town is a Lake Town Militia Captain leading 7 Militia with spear and 3 with bow. So it's 42 models. Only 5 bows, but obviously you've got Leggy's bow in there as well, and 13 might, but then you have Biffa there as well for the potential free heroic moves. So I thought this one was quite an interesting list. Any initial takeaways from anyone?
I like it, but I don't know why I like it.
I do like it. I think
Obviously, it's dwarfs backed by elves,
with
with
some Lake Town.
Lake Town to boost your model count.
But there's not that many Lake Town, where I guess compared to
Only
the
10.
other one we looked at, there's which is obviously like not no Lake Town, but compared to the other list where it was like over half of the the model count was all Lake Town.
I don't know if I think it's Tariel that is what's annoying me in this list.
I mean, she is very annoying.
I don't see
I
why
think
she's
she'd be-
there.
Because
I
how many
think
points
she'd
is
better off
Toriel?
as
90,
dwarves.
95?
I think she's 85. I think
She'd
she's
better off as
She is a
dwarves.
she is a fight 6 striker. I mean,
Yeah, but you can
Yeah.
get.
Yeah, going for that.
I mean, I'd almost be tempted if I was to change this list. You move all the elves into Legolas's warband because he's got the
Yeah.
space,
yeah,
and then maybe turn Toriel
something.
into, I don't know.
She's 85 points. So it's like
He or she?
she.
Oh, sorry.
I just don't
Turn her
know
into
what
7
value she
dwarves.
brings.
Mm.
But what else would you like? Do you take
I
a
mean,
different
you
champion
could drop
available?
a couple of models and get
I don't like
foreign in,
models.
but
I don't like that.
I don't know. I personally would drop her, and as uh, Ben said, then you just put in another like 8 models, and suddenly you've got a horde.
Yeah.
I think it's the having a lot of might. I mean, 13 with the free, like you can really chuck the heroes in and sort of.
But then
just
10
and,
with the free, because what are you doing with your might? Okay, Legolas is going to use it to shoot.
yeah. So you've essentially got the move from Biffa, and then you've got, Tariel and Gloin who can basically just spend their might, killing things and combating through troops.
Yeah, captain for March, Biffa for move,
Yeah.
Leggy to spend to kill to
Yeah.
put the shooting.
You've basically got 6 points of might from 2 fairly killy heroes to either go.
Oh,
for
is Toriel that killy though?
But
You
as in, you can either go for enemy heroes
I
to try.
I don't think the list is bad, but I think when I'm looking at it into the format, how we're talking about if you want to go up against like I don't know AOL or maybe Dragon Emperor, if you can then go actually I've got 50 models on the table, and like 2/3 of them are dwarves backed up by elves, suddenly that's like a difficult proposition for that Dragon Emperor list.
Yeah.
And like I don't think AOL would be able to deal with that either because I would also pump up the bow count in this personally.
Yeah, you could go max bows, and yeah, I think if you drop Tariel, you take a lot more troops, you get a much higher model count. You still have 10 might in the list with the free from Biffa, and yeah, you just get the much higher model count. So that probably is a better way of doing it.
I think the matchups it would play against with what's going. I think dropping Tyrell it would just make those matchups even easier. Like
you could even drop Tariel and turn it into Thorin, and then you get 3 heroic combats.
Yeah, I said that earlier.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
what's your
But how do you get the points?
Listening.
How do you get the points to do it though? Is what
I mean, you just drop a couple of like elves or dwarves. I mean, 2 or 3 models will do it. So you go lower model count, but
the 40 model.
Thorin will more than make up for that.
Thorin has to be the leader then, though, and I do like.
Yeah, no, I mean, I would prefer in the format and with the theme of this list, as it were, to go. I'm bulking out on. I'm an elite model spam army. With some cheerleaders in Lake Town.
Yeah, I don't know why it's something we maybe don't see more, like Leggy just being a leader that sits back and can still have.
Yeah, I mean, Leggy's very good generally for just scoring a leader wound and stuff like that and giving you an advantage.
I think it was Team Italy that are taking. I think it was Legolas and then with a full warband or near enough, and then basically spam survivors. So it's like Percy Hilda captain.
Oh yes, it's like
captain.
Is it like 68 models or something?
I think it was 68 models. Yeah,
I think so. Which is I saw that.
Is a lot of models.
Yeah.
I think that would do really well into AOL. For example.
Yes. Was it a full warband with Leggy?
I think so. It was some form of like just elves with loads of Lake Town, which again, admittedly, they only fight 2 compared to them, but like I think that's what this should have done.
This is getting to 48 models and your dwarves and elves, good amount of might. Like you haven't really sacrificed much in order to get that really high model count. Like you've still got the high fight, the sentinel, the cav. Like you've got kind of all the other tools. You've just gone down to 10 might, which isn't bad in any,
Yeah. I don't think there's anything wrong with this list. I just think it could have been better.
Yeah.
I think it's optimizing it for the format.
Yeah. Like this could have played against, I think, and won big, but I think this is more likely just going to win small with how it's built. I don't know.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, I do like it at the same time.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just
I
I
do.
think just the tile just she's I don't know.
No.
Not the biggest fan.
Yeah.
Can you start by saying you're quite a big fan?
No, I said I'm not a fan.
Oh,
I said I like the list, but I don't know why. But then
yeah.
I think
Not a Tario fan.
I'm just not a tile fan. I just think it could have been better. I wish she was something else in this list, i.e., more models or a different hero.
Yeah.
But again, it's not. I still think this would do. It's all rounder, really, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a good list still. Yeah. So, okay. Well, that is the final list that we're going to be looking at. So that is going to close out the episode. So, any closing thoughts from anyone on the event or anything like that? No.
Oh, just as a note, because we didn't mention it, and I don't know how many people are aware of this, but because the event is good v evil, we are also going to be tracking what alignment does better across the whole entire weekend. It's like, do evil win more or do good win more in the what I'm dubbing the War of the Ring sort of award. So there are medals for 60 people who either use good or who either use evil.
Really?
So we can answer that question at the end of the event.
Yeah. Once and for all. Okay. Well, I guess if because Sam, I think you mentioned this in a previous episode, but if there's anyone going to the Nations Cup that
Yes.
watches the pod or anything, and you see any of the guys around, wearing the shirts or anything,
Yeah, come say hello. It'll be me, Ben, Adam, Jay there, and Ali as
and
well.
Ali, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, come say hi. I will be wearing our shirts. I might bring my Golden Gamers top. I don't honestly know, but you might see me in it.
Do what?
Well, I know.
Sam?
Well, people are wearing. I know some people have bought two of the shirts for the team wise. Like, I think have you got two of the shirts, Ben?
You got to put it on one day. One day. Come on.
I'll wear it. Sure.
Yeah.
You've got to take the photo for the Instagram.
Of course.
Oh, come say hi if you're there.
Yeah.
I'll be intrigued to see how many people I can from overseas that I can
Yeah.
watch the channel kind of thing. Yeah.
You'll be at the bar buying that American drinks because he's brought Azog and
When he beat Sam game one.
and Gollum.
Yeah.
They don't even have to beat me. They don't even have to play us. If they bring that list,
if they beat you, I feel like you end up like having to buy two rounds.
I'll quit the hobby. How about that?
Sam, you have to be careful with what you promise on this podcast.
Remember,
Yeah.
I'm can influence the TO team.
I don't care. I feel like my list would.
Make it
Don't
happen.
care. I'll quit the hobby. Even if they just
Yeah,
take the
we know
list, I'll buy the whole of USA a bev.
Yeah. Also worth mentioning, if you're not part of the Nations Cup Facebook page, you can join on there, and then you'll be able to keep track of events across the weekend, and hopefully a live stream of some of the games and how the guys are getting on, really.
Yeah.
So head on over to that group to stay up to date.
And there will also be coverage on the Gollum's Gamers Instagram, which you could go and follow.
I won't be sending you any updates, buddy.
Yes, you will be. That is going to do it, though. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching another episode of the Gollum's Gamers podcast.